And what comes up a lot is people will say, how do you reach out to someone you haven't talked to in a long time without it feeling awkward? And if you're familiar with the connection loop framework, I always say start with who you already know. And that's usually former coworkers or people who you used to talk to, but you don't really talk to anymore, and people you've just lost touch with. People think if I reach out to them, it's going to be awkward. And most people don't do it. They don't reach out to these people, and then they get frustrated with their networking because they're trying to reach out to strangers and not getting responses. So I tell you to start with who you know because it's a low risk way to start connecting and talking to people. But people wait too long and they make this a bigger deal than it actually is. So I'm going to show you a really simple way to do this so that it doesn't feel forced. Why does it feel forced? Why does this feel hard for people? Most of us go through our lives and we're busy. We have work, we have family, we have friends, we have things we're involved in. And so we lose touch with people. But the thing is they also are busy and they lose touch with you as well. So they've moved on with their lives too. And so when we think about this idea of reaching out to somebody that we haven't talked to in a long time, we kind of go back to this like it's been too long. It's been a couple years since we've talked. They're not really gonna know why I'm reaching out to them. They're probably gonna think I want something from them. I don't really know how to say it to them. I just feel like it's been too long. Why am I reaching out now? And I like to try to reframe this because while it feels like a big deal to you, to them, it's probably just a nice surprise. And I say it like this: if the roles were reversed and you were going about your busy day and you were checking your emails or your LinkedIn messages or your texts, and somebody you hadn't talked to in a couple years popped into one of those inboxes and said, "Hey, it's been a long time since we talked. We used to work together at, this place where we both worked, and I'm just wondering how you're doing." If you got a message like that, and more succinctly than that, I kind of droned on there. I'll tell you the exact way you should say this in the future. But if you uh, got that message from somebody else, and somebody else who you hadn't talked to in a couple of years reached out and said, "Hey, just want to get back in touch." Would you be put off? Would you be offended? Or would you be like, "Wow, what a surprise. I'm glad they thought of me. I'm glad I crossed somebody else's mind, and I'm glad they took the time and the effort to reach out to me and say, 'Hey,'" you probably would. Most people would. That's how I want you to think about it when you run into this mental barrier of, "I can't reach out to somebody because it's been too long." Because the fact of the matter is, most likely, if you send this message to them, they're gonna be excited that you sent it. Again, they're gonna be impressed that you thought of them. They're gonna feel good because they crossed somebody else's mind, and then they're gonna be like, "Hey, they took the effort and made the initiative. They made it easy on me. Be happy to get back in touch." So, we have to get over that sort of reframe, or we have to get over that barrier, that wall we put up, and reframe it in our mind and realize this is probably gonna be less of a big deal than we're making it up in our heads. So, the simple way to do this, and again, if you haven't started networking, the simple way to start networking is pick one person. And this is one person who you used to work with. Maybe you talk to him every day and you've moved on to a new job and they've moved on to a new job and you just don't talk to him anymore. So pick that person, somebody you like, somebody that you'd like to talk to, somebody that you're wondering about, somebody who crosses your mind, somebody you're curious about, and send them a really simple message. Say, "I was thinking about the company or the time we worked together, and you came to mind. How are you doing?" That's it. That's all you're gonna say. That's the message you're gonna send. You're gonna send an email, you're gonna send a LinkedIn message, you're gonna send a text if you have their phone number. You're just gonna say, "Hey, I was thinking about the time we worked together. I realized we hadn't talked in a long time, and you crossed my mind. How are things going? How are you doing? What's exciting in your life? What's good in your life? What's new in your life?" Something like that. You can tailor it to whatever's comfortable for you. And you're not trying to impress them with this. You're not asking them for anything. You're just trying to start up a conversation. Many times people will tell me, "I did that, and I didn't get a response. And I will say things like, well, how long has it been? Did you do it yesterday? Was it last week? Was it a month ago? How long ago was it? Because that is important. If you sent it yesterday and you haven't got a response, that's completely understandable. I mean, if you think about it, have you ever gotten an email and not responded that day? Probably. And again, remember, you're reaching out because you're trying to connect with this person. It's important to you to connect with them. You're trying to network, either to find a job or new business opportunities, or for whatever reason you're networking, it's really important to you. That person got that note. And while they may be flattered and they may be excited to respond, they have a million things going on in their life too. So they are going to maybe take a little time to get back to you. The other thing I say is, how many people did you send that to? Because if you send it to one person, that one person could be out of the country for 2 weeks. They could be moving. They could be in the middle of the busiest time at work. And so that one person might take a while. So find some other people. Keep going through your list of people you worked with and people you want to get back in touch with, and send that note to multiple people. The thing you don't want to do in this is give them your whole life story. That's why I say keep this really brief, because you just want them to see the message and respond. Because once they respond, that's the invitation to take the conversation then to the next level. And that conversation is, what have you been working on? What's exciting? What have you been doing? Tell me what's going on. So you can kind of start a little bit of a conversation and move on to getting to a point where you guys get on a phone call, a video call, you meet in person. You need to get to a voice to voice conversation with this, but that comes later. The key here is just to take that first initial step and reach out to that person. You're definitely not asking for a job here. You are not sending them your resume. You're not trying to make this transactional. You're just trying to start the conversation. Because again, remember, you know this person. This person knows you, and there's a good chance that they're probably going to respond and you can have some back and forth. The key here is, like I said, you can't just do this one time and then wait for the person to respond. If you do that, you might be waiting a while and you might get frustrated. So you want to do this a little bit more than that. Go through, make a list of people that you've maybe lost touch with, you want to get back connected with, and just do one person a week if that's all you can do. If that's all you can do, that's a win. If you can do 2 people a week, that's even better. It really just kind of depends on what you can sustain, and what kind of a habit you can build around doing this. And then as you do this, people will start to respond at different times. And some people respond right away. Some people will take a couple weeks. But as they're responding, then you're trying to move on to those conversations that you're going to be having in real life. So I would ask this: who's the first person that comes to mind when you think of somebody that you've lost touch with that you would really like to get back in touch with? And think about that person, write that person's name down on a piece of paper, or open up your email right now, go and type their email address. Um, come up with subject lines like, hey, I wanted to get back in touch, or getting back in touch, or catching up, or thought of it. This made me think of you the other day. And then write that message and hit send. So I'll leave you with this. Just don't overthink this. Don't wait. This is how you get started networking. So thanks for being here. This is my very first Substack Live, and I just wanted to do a test, and I actually have like one person, Jamie Jacobs, showed up in my chat here. So thanks, Jamie, for jumping in here and jumping on for my very first Substack Live. And that's it. I'm Greg. I'm the introverted networker. So until next time, make sure you go out and always be connecting.